Hello there, and welcome to the Rogue Podcast, a Star Wars show. Today we will be recapping the latest installment of Mando Season 3, Episode 6 of 8. What was this one called again?
Don't know.
Guns for Hire.
Guns for Hire. Yeah, this is got to be one of the first ones where it wasn't the something as the title. But anyways, if you could, please drop a like, hit subscribe, hit the bell. It will help us out a lot. And I know most of you that are watching are people that know us, so just be a lad and hit the like, please. Without any further ado, let's get into the show. So, John, I know that you recommended a nice Lego set there, David. I'm getting mine shortly. I know you recommended a minute of silence. I do believe that this episode deserves a minute of silence for the crappiness of it. But
We're supposed to start with it just right off the bat. Not even introduction, anything.
I feel like it's a little dramatic. Personally, I feel like it's a little dramatic. How are we doing on audio? Did you check it?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it was bad. I mean, there's no way to get around it. This was just bad. And for me, I felt that the thing that stunk about it most was that this was episode 6 of 8. I think that was the worst part of all of it for me. The other parts, if you have 15
what
episodes...
was it? Repeat that 1 sec.
The worst part of this for me was it was episode 6 of 8. I felt if you had 15,
yeah.
16, 17 episodes, I wouldn't mind this so much. We have 2 episodes left, and this is what we got. That's what makes me most angry about this episode, in my personal opinion. What about you guys? How'd you feel about it overall?
Agreed, because we're gonna get like one episode for them to go do something, and then we're gonna get one final episode with some kind of a conflict, and then it's gonna be over.
Into a nice It's got to be
With a
some random
cliffhanger.
like if the cliffhanger is something to do with Moff Gideon being something, that'll be really disappointing. We've already had that story. We don't need that story again.
It's like, bring
know
back
it.
the Emperor already.
Well, and that's the other thing. I don't know. Did any of you watch?
I did see that.
And we can get into the weeds right away, but like
Let's do it. Let's get into the weeds.
it just feels more obvious like it's gonna be pushing towards the sequel trilogy and just kind of proving that the legitimacy or trying to support the legitimacy of the back and forth that we
I mean,
experienced
this
there.
episode didn't further that anymore, specifically, but I feel like the way the show is heading, for sure.
Yeah, just with all the cloning, with I don't know. I think the story beats and kind of unfortunately all the clouding that's going on behind the scenes rumored clouding.
Yeah,
Can't really say any of it's true or false.
There's so much going on right now that is just really shaking my faith in Star Wars. We always get cheese before the 2-episode finale. You're right. We have had...
Do we though?
So
Okay,
think back to episode 6 from season 2. Was that the... No, that wasn't cheese. That was Boba and Boba showing up, was it not?
Season 2 episode.
Yes, it was. I believe
I
season
think, I think
2,
it was like
episode 6.
5.
Yeah, let me pull up season 2
Because then
episodes.
episode 7 was them going to the Imperial base.
The tragedy, yeah.
Yes.
This episode was the tragedy
So no,
episode.
episode 6 was fantastic last year, and it
Also
drove a lot to the plot.
Think this is what I mentally compared it to.
Or last year,
The
2.5 years ago.
The Believer. This, in my mind, this episode is in the slot of The Believer, where we found out, and I remember Jake, specifically you saying, man, they're going to have to go get Bill Burr. This is going to be such a downer of an episode. Another side quest right before the season finale. This is going to be lame. But it kind of took similar story beats, a random side quest, but integrated character
You
development.
mean episode 7 last year?
Episode 7 last year, The Believer. This is kind of, in my mind, so far,
Kind
not
of
knowing
along
the
the-
last 2 episodes.
Okay.
This is kind of like the same beats.
Sure, but that episode was good.
Exactly. Well, that's my point.
Yeah.
My point is they took a side quest and they, instead of making it
I mean, I feel...
not just goofy, just like,
right. So
what's going on here?
Here's the issue I had with it. We knew that this episode, or we had a general idea, was going to be talking about Bo going and looking for Mandalorians. Which, on that effect, I'm totally cool with. I think that
Yeah.
makes sense. It drives the plot forward. That is that is a good plot device or a good plot moving forward, I should say. Okay? However, the first 5-10 minutes or so, we see 5 minutes, I would say, the Mandalorians right off the get-go, and I was like, all right, cool, getting right to the Mandalorians.
We see someone before that. So it starts out with a Quarren.
Oh yeah,
ship.
Yeah.
The Star Trek.
No, it did look very Star Trekky, I will say.
But no, it did feel Star Wars.
Yeah, it was
until
fine.
The tentacles in the mouth.
Yeah, that was weird. It was just weird. But it all just flows so poorly. So I want to get into something about all of this. So not only does the show flow poorly, I actually saw this on TikTok. It was South Park writers talking about storytelling. And they said a story needs to say, you see one thing happen, and then it says, but then this. Or because of that happening, then this happened. It should never say and or then. You know what I mean? You're going to say this happened, then this happened. Or this happened, and this happened. And you should never have that kind of thing happen with a story. A good story needs to flow together where the next thing is a consequence of the previous thing, right? Or they tie into each other. What we see with this season of Mando is just all of this and stuff. So like this happens, and so gets kidnapped, and so is getting their mind wiped, and this, and this, and this. And it just makes it not a good, cohesive story. And I know that they're going for the serialized effect where one story is mission of the week, but it has to connect. And the way they're connecting everything is 5 minutes at the end of an episode saying, and now this is how it all connects. It just doesn't work.
Which is what you said. That's serialized 22 episodes, 66% filler episodes, maybe. So I'm rewatching Smallville, and they're doing the podcast watch through with that.
There's a lot there.
And yeah, there's a lot of filler. I mean, in the early seasons, there was a lot of good stuff. But the writer of the show said, in these episodes, you got to expect that out of every 4 episodes, 1 episode is going to be really good. It's going to really push the story forward. That's in 22, 24 episodes per season.
Yes.
This is 8 episodes. For the first 2 seasons, we've got, whether love it or hate Frog Lady episode, I still think that was a great episode in the universe. It really, it did it for me. We got some new characters. We got the X-Wing guys.
There are certain things in almost every episode.
There's an aspect of it that's great.
There are certain things in every episode that has some good value to it, most of the time.
But like you're saying, with the storytelling in season 1 and 2, whether or not the episode was a fetch quest or whatnot, there was always, what would you say? Then this, then this, or what's the?
Everything was in a consequence of something else happening. You know, it was tied.
But then
together.
here we've got, like you said, we start out with the Mandalorians, and then we go back to Bo and Din, and then the robots, and it just felt like it didn't feel special. It just felt like one of those episodes. Scooby-Doo. It felt like Scooby-Doo.
And especially, I've seen the Scooby-Doo thing everywhere too. Now, after I said it, John, every video I've watched, they're saying, "Oh, the Scooby-Doo episode of Mando," but it's frustrating. Oh, where's I going? Oh, just because. This episode especially felt it had no consequence. Like, I was watching this with my wife, and when the Mandos first showed up, I was like, oh, cool, we might be able to see what's up with Moff Gideon right away. But no.
Yeah.
Instead, they are harassing the Mon Cala and Quarren Romeo and Juliet story. I was like, all right, I wonder where this is going. But we never see them again. There was no consequence to it whatsoever. The next scene that we see, their ships are just parked on this planet, and we're like, well, what was the point of me even watching that scene? You know?
If anything,
they
I mean,
just
it was
showed a progression of characters.
This is
completing
where
parking.
Axe Wolves are. Yeah, they're mercenaries now.
But
so
like,
it's more of like it's a horrible show. Well, it's a show and tell instead of just show.
Exactly. And are they going off and doing all these mercenary jobs, or are they sitting at this planet protecting these people? Like, or are they doing both? I don't know. There's no consequence from one action to the next.
And it doesn't
just
even
jumps
matter.
to some other thing. And this whole time I was thinking like, oh, how is this going to get woven into the story? And then the episode ends and there's absolutely no consequence. And if we go into the next episode and it's talking about this Romeo and Juliet fish people, I'm going to be like, are you kidding? Is Bo-Katan going to find out that like, this is what her people's been doing? Like, oh no, we have to write this wrong or something. If that's what the next episode is, I'm going to be livid. Okay? I will. I'll be absolutely livid if that's what they're doing.
Mon Calamari social
Yeah.
justice reform.
So it made no sense to have that go on. But then I was like, all right, at least Bo and Din are going to go and talk the Mandalorians right away. Maybe we'll get into some good stuff. But you guys all know what happened. We get into, they're trying to go see him, and Jack Black's like, no, come here to my party, and we'll have a little get-together and get you to do a little side quest for us. Which, again,
Drug you. Fetch quests.
if that side quest turned out to have some impact on the larger story, I wouldn't have minded so much. It had some fun aspects to it. It was not absolutely awful to watch, but it had no impact on the story whatsoever.
Which
again.
in rewatching, I realized kind of why Jack Black and Lizzo pulled them off to the side is because they didn't have the ability to fight off these rogue droids. So they're like, if you figure out what's wrong with these rogue droids, we'll recognize Mandalore. And like, what would they even offer Mandalore? I have no idea.
They said they would support.
They would
them.
said they would. Yeah, they would said they would
The
support them
Senate.
and get them into the New Republic.
That's one
But,
vote.
But weren't they? Are they even in the New Republic?
Yeah, they're part of the New.
Okay.
The New Republic sent him there as a politician to help out and rebuild their.
Which is weird then, because in the
civilization.
beginning, Bo says this is an independent system.
Did she
But
say
maybe
that?
that's what she said.
I
so
don't
maybe
believe it
she
was
just
any
didn't
longer
have
because the New Republic
the
sent him there.
updated information.
Yeah.
What system's it again?
I don't remember the name.
Plaisir 15.
015, something like that. CJ, I saw you grimace when I said something. What were your thoughts there?
Oh, I think I'm a little different than y'all in that, one, I don't have high expectations for episodes fitting into a larger narrative right now.
No.
But I
Don't
think
let your low expectations give this one a pass.
no.
I can't do it.
My big problem, you said some of it was. I think this episode is possibly the worst written episode, even topping the worst of Boba Fett.
Yeah,
I think it's
Oh yeah.
absolutely agree.
by far.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely
Like
agree.
none of it was even watchable. I thought it was awful.
The opening scene was bad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
None of
Oh,
it.
yeah.
The
It was
the
like a
robot
What
was the
it
robot
start-
part was anticlimactic.
Oh yeah.
Any like cool, interesting thing they could have done with it,
They just threw it
didn't.
away. Yes.
The fight at the end was so stupid, and the Darksaber part was awful. There was no redeeming qualities of this episode. It was terrible.
You're
Yeah.
right. You're right.
Yeah.
I
They
wouldn't.
did just like introduce all these elements. They introduced all these elements that could have been like problems, but like,
Then they just said they moved on past it.
yeah, it's just like, all right, we're done.
Like the whole thing with
We,
the
like-
droids.
We slept for 24 hours. We're done. Like,
The whole thing with the droids taking over the city. The droids weren't even
Yeah.
really causing many problems. They were like flipping tables over, and it was just a few of them. And it's like
Yeah, it was
not
like-
that bad.
it was like maybe 3 to 5. Like,
Then on top of that, it seemed they had no form of firing any weapons, like the blaster. They were decommissioned or something.
They didn't have
So-
oh yeah, the droids didn't have blasters.
Yeah.
and
so
they died in one shot to a blaster bolt.
and I was hoping like
Well, no.
maybe there would be some kind of like military coup that was going on. And they were trying to like use the droids to take over the system and there'd be a big fight. I'd be like, oh, even if this doesn't have a ton of meaning, watching Din and Bo fight a bunch of droids, that'll be fun. You know what I mean? It'd be cool to see them just go nuts on a bunch of battle droids. Some kind of Clone Wars vibes. But that's not what happened. They walked around the city for 40 minutes, 30 minutes, I guess, and just questioned people and like talked about nanobots or whatever.
Yeah, you know
And-
how cool it would have been to get like a Magna Guard just like pop out? Like,
It was so dumb. Then somehow super battle droids can just sprint. If these were the
like
super
said
battle
Jedi
droids,
sprint.
Usain B2, baby.
if these were the super battle droids that fought in the Clone Wars, the Republic would have lost.
Hands
Yeah.
down.
Dude,
These
there's
are like-
no way those things
These
were
are
like,
like Usain Bolt.
They're
just, like,
faster than
everywhere.
commando battle droids. The commando
Yeah.
droids?
Yeah,
They're,
way
like,
faster.
quicker than them.
oh, it was ridiculous. And it's,
They're, like,
I said to
borderline
Rachel, I was like,
Jedi.
"Oh,
Thanks.
maybe just during war, like I was trying to rationalize and I was talking to Rachel. I was like, maybe during wartime, you know, they were just in formation. That was like the strategy that they had. And then after I thought, I was like, that'd be the worst strategy ever. If you could have these things run, have them run. So, oh yeah, seeing them talk about Quill was cool. I'll give that with the Ugnaughts and just the kind of language of didn't applying that. It was
Yeah, I
somewhat
think
alright.
that specific part was probably the best part of the episode.
Which is sad.
Yeah. Just like seeing aliens.
Yeah, lots of aliens here.
And then
That was
we see
cool.
Jack Black. I said to Rachel, I was like, "Is that Jack Black?" I was like, "It is." Oh, that's
Yeah, I
cool.
didn't
It's
even
Jack
have to-
Black.
Ask it.
And then it just didn't fit. It didn't work right. And then we're like, and then I was like, "Is that Lizzo?"
See,
I was like,
I
what
didn't.
are we
I
doing?
didn't know it was Lizzo. I was just like, oh.
I-
So here was my thought.
Yeah, I
I
had
was
no
like,
idea.
I was like, oh, they've got this. Okay, I mean, she's like not that good of an actress, but she's like, I guess doing pretty well for someone who isn't an actress.
Yeah. I mean, honestly,
Or
with that
isn't a famous
society,
actress. I literally had no idea who she was.
with that society, if that's the society they're going for, or the culture they're going for on that planet, those two people fit in it okay. It seemed like it's a buffoon planet of paradise where nobody works, I guess. But it was so forced to have these. And then Christopher, not Lee, Christopher
Lloyd.
Lloyd, thank you. Great Scott guy from Back to the Future. He was in it as well. So we're shoving 3 A-list celebrities in here, and it just it made no sense. It was like, all right, guys, what should we spend our budget on? And they just say, oh, let's just throw it at these A-list celebrities. Like, really? That's what you wanted to focus on this episode?
I don't even know if they don't just let them like volunteer.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're getting paid something, but it's probably not a ton. But it just is, I don't know. Like, imagine the 4 of us are sitting in a writing room, right? I'm going to pretend to be Jon Favreau, okay? All right, guys, so you guys just be yourselves. No pretend to be the rest of Disney. Just be yourself in this
I was
mission,
gonna be
okay?
Kathleen.
No.
Bring baby Yoda back.
All right, so here's the plan. We know we just said
mine.
that. I know we just said that we're going to send Bo on a mission, so opens up, and we see this Mon Cala, or a Quarren pilot of a ship, right? And she's in this water tube, and it sucks down, and she eats a fish, and
Sounds
then
cool.
she gets
Sounds
out, right?
fun.
Just
Sounds
kind of
Star
shows
Warsy.
how they live out of water, okay? All right,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And then
One Quarren on the ship.
there's a bunch of other Quarrens, don't worry.
But they don't get water.
They don't,
They're
need,
not
but they don't
pirates.
need water, exactly. It was just her.
Why
don't
aren't they
get
all
water.
swimming? That's weird.
Yeah, why isn't the whole ship just underground?
That's
that
a
would make a
question,
lot
actually.
of sense.
In
I'm
Clone,
about communism.
in Clone Wars, were there ships filled with water? I don't remember.
No.
It was
no.
just they were underwater, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah, they can live underwater.
Okay.
yeah,
Like
so they
Catfisto.
They don't require water to breathe. Neither
Right.
Quarren nor Mon.
They've evolved.
So,
They're better than that.
anyways, and then we see Axe Wolves talking about how he's a mercenary and they just have to do a
Wolves.
job. Yeah, wolves, thank you. They just have to do a job, and they do their job, and they split up this couple, but I want to have the couple kiss. Now, one's Mon Cala, one's Quarren, so the Quarren, like, tentacles go and kiss it. Okay.
Do you also want one to be like 30 and the other to be 15?
Yeah!
Is that what you want too?
It honestly felt like creepy ant thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, it was weird. It was weird.
Yeah.
Okay, but then they get to the planet and they see the Mandalorian ships, but their ship is taken over and they have to fly to the capital city. Okay?
I have a question about that.
Yeah.
Why is that technology not more widely used?
Dude, for
just
real.
in war to dive bomb their enemy with their own ship?
Yes. If you can just control ships, I thought the same thing. It's like it wasn't even
That's
a tractor beam.
Yeah, that's way
Yeah,
better than
just
tractor
took
beam.
over
They
the
just-
ship.
Get out
yeah,
of those.
They hotwired in. They had the Wi-Fi
Yes.
unlocked, or
That-
the password was Bo-Katan.
I'm
part
glad you
Hack
brought that
Mando.
up, CJ, because I thought that. When
It's
I was
not even
watching
like
it as well.
suicide bombing. You're using their ships. You
Just
don't
drop
even have to use
bombs.
your own guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes
You're
no sense.
master like tethering everything to you. You're stealing their ship.
Yeah. You're very much correct. It's like the Holdo
Hello, drone.
maneuver all over again, where you can just control people's ships. Like that's the thing now.
We are now the separatists. I now have a droid army.
Yeah, exactly. That's essentially what it is. Like you can't do anything about it. So, yeah,
Hear me.
weird. Good point. Maybe we won't do that, CJ. I don't like that idea as much anymore.
You
But
know,
they get there, and you get pulled into a side quest, and it's gonna have all these separatist droids that have gone rogue.
Dude,
They've been
separatist droids?
Yeah, they've been repurposed to just be faculty,
That's cool.
but they have
How
an
many?
uprising.
How many of
5.
them? What?
Okay.
5
Five?
droids?
Yep, and they don't have blasters.
Where's our budget?
They don't have blasters either.
What's
Okay.
the point?
And it's not even, we're not even make all of them separatists. Some of them are just gonna be rogue droids that just go nuts.
Like U-haulers?
Yeah, just like one that just trap.
General Grievous?
No weapons, no weapons involved whatsoever.
One of them had knives.
Does he even have? Do they at least have 2 arms?
Yeah.
Can you
honestly.
afford that?
So, but here's the thing. They're going to go talk to the villain at the
I know,
beginning.
right, Dale?
They're going to go talk to the villain at the beginning. And then you're going to learn he's the villain. But at the end of the episode, when you learn he's the villain, he's going to have, like, no motivation for why he did what he did or what he was actually trying to do either. And he's also going to feel really bad about it.
Yeah, he's going to be sorry. Okay,
Yes.
that makes sense. I mean,
So he was getting back at this world, but why?
Apparently because they're lazy now. And he
Well,
thinks
I feel like
that
No,
they could've
it was
learned
more-
that.
it was
So
more
how does
like,
that correlate to separatists?
I think I'm getting some Mad Wally
yeah,
vibes.
it's true because he was like, Count Dooku was a visionary. But it's like, were you trying to overthrow the city with droids? Because if you did, you could have just had them all actually turn and like maybe put some weapons in their hands or something. But they were just like
At least
causing,
try,
they were
like-
just causing trouble. They were a slight nuisance.
Please try.
I mean, it was just like it was like a rat problem.
John, you're fired. I'm sorry. I don't even have the
Thanks.
power to, but I'm firing you.
So
Honestly,
go ahead.
one of the most disappointing things, I thought they could have done something cool with like how lazy the society was and like using the droid, I don't know, the reliance on the droids, some kind of like, it's not usually a Star Wars thing, but even like some kind of like commentary on work being valuable in some capacity
Yeah.
or something like that. But it was literally just nothing. It
Mhm.
was
Well-
just like they just, I don't know, it was all pointless. There was
Hollow
know.
episode.
Along those lines, I think they were trying to hit some societal commentary on this. So my thoughts were 2 things. Was it either A, the droids are the working class? Because the Christopher Lloyd said, without these people, society would collapse and they wouldn't know what to do. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, it's either A, it's the working class. If the working class stops, nothing gets made, no one gets their McDonald's, and the society collapses, and all the rich people, Jack Black and Lizzo, they don't get anything because the working class stops. Or B, is it about reliance on technology and how if we didn't have our phones and such, we wouldn't.
I think if they went that way, it would be fine, but I don't think we got nothing out of that, actually. Like, you have to draw so much on your own, because there was
That's
not
what I'm
really a
saying.
thing. Yeah.
Fill in the blanks,
it
guys.
could have been a thing, and if it had been a side episode where they had like properly fleshed that out, you cut out the beginning and end
Mhm.
and do that for like a side episode,
And they
at
learn
the
a
end, it
lesson
helps
or
them find them.
something. Someone learns.
I think it would have been a
something.
lot better. I think it would have been interesting. Maybe not
Yeah.
the best.
Even if, like, the citizens were involved, and, like, the citizens
Yeah.
are learning, like, okay, we don't need to rely on droids for everything. We've become lazy and just, living off the fat of the land or whatever.
So it's like Wally.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah, that's fine. It could be Star Wars Wally. It would have been 20 times better.
Yeah, which still would have been pretty bad.
Honestly,
I
that's what
feel
I was
like-
thinking it was gonna turn into, and then I was like, oh, well, I really can't like fill in the blanks here.
That's the truth
Think
of
about-
this episode, is it had essentially no meaning, though. Like, it had no meaning on the story. It had no meaning as to what happened. Literally,
Yeah.
they wanted to go talk to the Mandalorians, but to get there, they had to do a job of pest control. And they did it with almost no hiccup whatsoever, no conflict, no dilemma, like moral dilemma or intellectual dilemma or character development. They just went and did it.
I mean, there was a
Yeah.
little bit there, like maybe 2 instances where Mando's wanting to like blow up a droid.
Yeah, I mean that was
That's
that
comic
was
relief, essentially, though.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that,
that was
happened
funny.
like twice.
I mean-
and that was like
I
the
mean,
extent of it.
To me,
His
the
disdain
best part
for
of this
droids came
episode
back.
was you had me at battle droids. That was the only part of this episode I actually was like, that was good. I like
and
that.
Kanduku.
I didn't care about that.
Yeah.
He just mentioned him. You have to do more than just have cameos or verbal cameos for me to say that it was good. Like, at this
Well,
point,
I'm
we've
not saying
seen
it's
cameos all the
good,
time.
but it's just like the only positive I found to the
I
episode.
guess.
And
they
did you
acknowledged
catch?
his
I didn't
history.
catch until the second watch through, and someone mentioned it was until Count Dooku was killed by the Jedi
Yeah.
enforcer.
Mm-hmm.
Which, how would he know that?
He just knew that he's killed by the Jedi. I'm sure Anakin was
Or
pretty
Palpatine
famous.
commended Anakin.
That's
for
true.
It.
That's true. Yeah.
It was well known.
Yeah. Never mind. Ignore that.
I mean, the battle was over Coruscant after all.
Yeah.
The capital of the Republic. I'm sure it was a very highly documented battle.
Dexter Jetster remembers.
The other thing that I wish, or that I thought could have been cool, is if they had used Jack Black to bridge Mando to this like rehabilitation program, since he was from that.
Yeah,
Like,
to understand it, kind of connect it to episode 3 a little bit.
Yeah, even have him be like kind of shady, so they have to interact with that random episode 3 in some way, like before the last 2.
Maybe he's a little wary of that girl if he sees her in episode 7 or 8, Elia Kane.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, when she
Maybe
mentions
she's there. Maybe she's causing problems, and they kind of figure out something's not quite right.
That's a little, that would
It's
be
a
a little
stretch,
too deep
but,
for them.
like, I don't know.
No, but yeah.
So far that episode 3 has seemed pointless.
Asking for this, we're right here.
Hopefully 7 and 8.
Oh.
Don't even say that, Dale.
We'll
Hopefully
talk about
7
that
and
in
8
our
builds on.
speculation. Yeah.
Dale has
Don't give me bad
yeah,
news,
we
Dale.
will come back to that at the
Come on,
end because
Dale.
we will definitely be preparing. If we don't bring it back up at the end of the episode, Dale, make sure you ask that question again. Okay.
We definitely will bring it up. I'll remember.
Don remembers.
But it just, again, it all jumps around so much. And just after last episode, I was really starting to feel that they were starting to culminate things together. And I thought these last 3 were really going to build to a good ending. And I just worry so much now about the next 2 episodes. Celebrity stuff aside, Alice in Wonderland croquet aside, like all these things were just so random and just disconnected and just not driving the story forward. And then when they do get to it at the end of the episode, the story is driven forward in such a poor way. So let's talk about that next. We can all agree the droid side quest sucked. They finally get there.
Baby Yoda becoming a knight.
Yeah, baby. Grogu getting knighted for what reason? He did
in the
nothing.
moment.
It's going to matter.
I was like,
but it's
how
going to
many
be
knights
stupid.
do you have?
How's it going
promise
to
you it's
matter?
gonna matter.
How is that going to matter?
In the moment, I
Him
was
being a
like,
knight,
it's
you're gonna have some
foreshadowing.
political thing. Yeah.
They're foreshadowing him becoming a Jedi
I
Knight.
bet you it's going to matter at some point in the next 2 episodes.
Dude, there's no way.
Because
They
they're
just
going to
wanted
come
And
back
it's
to
gonna
them
be
for help
so
at some
stupid.
point, and he's going to be like, remember when you knighted me?
Nah,
Yeah.
they're
No,
better
I'm here
not
to-
be, man. And that
I'm
has
here to
like-
collect.
if they're gonna make something important out of Lizzo
Dude,
knighting
Lean
a puppet-
into the curve.
can't
Knighting a
do-
50-year-old baby.
Yeah, he's 50. That's the thing that's also driving me crazy. I
As-
understand. It's getting more and more annoying, though. I understand he develops slower or something. But he's 50. He's lived an eighth of his
No,
life.
he doesn't develop. He doesn't
Or
develop.
not, 8/10. Yeah, whatever. Essentially, he's an infant, toddlerish thing at 50 years old, and he's apparently intelligent, but he acts so immature. And it's just like, it just drives me nuts. It drives me nuts.
No development.
That, like, you can be living among Jedi 50 years and just be like, "Gagoo." Oh, I hate it. I hate it.
Sell the merch.
It's just
That got me.
It just gets so annoying.
That got me.
Yeah, like some of the stuff was fun, Dale, but for the most part, it was just annoying. It was just annoying.
We need to talk about some good stuff at the end. Right before speculation, we'll talk
Alright.
about, like, we each have to say at least a couple good things, because I can
will.
think of a couple.
I can
but
think of a
it's not
couple.
gonna
I said
happen.
mine.
All right.
Real quick, right at the beginning, did any of you think for a split second that they were on Mandalore because of that domed building?
No, I did not.
No.
I was like,
I thought it looked similar. I
Yeah.
I
It's
saw
like
what you
Mandalore.
saw,
I didn't-
but I didn't assume.
then I was like,
that
I
but
thought someone
Mandalore
say
is
it was
destroyed.
like it was like Epcot.
Is that what
Epcot,
that
yeah.
looks like?
Yeah.
Which also
Um,
looks like the Death Star when they light it up, right?
Yeah, I guess. All right. So I want to talk about the end, so we can just get into our full rant phase about just the larger picture of Star Wars. I'm not. I
We
don't
haven't been
like
ranting
to
so
complain.
far?
No, I mean about Star Wars in whole. I don't like to complain about Star Wars. You guys know that. I love it so much. I want it to be good. I want to love it. I want to be excited about everything new that comes out. But I'm really scared for the future of Star Wars. Not just because of this episode. I think it's just kind of culminating and brought me a little bit to a semi-breaking point. I'm still hopeful for the future, but I'm very hopefully worried. Okay. What's that word I'm looking for? cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
But I don't even know if I'm quite
the
to
one.
there. You know what I mean? It's like I'm more so not optimistic, but I'm hopeful that it'll turn around. So,
There's always hope.
yeah. Who knows? Who knows,
Get
man?
out of here. You're the part of the problem.
So we get to Axe Woves, and Bo-Katan pretty much says, I want my fleet back. And he says, you ain't getting it back. It's mine now. I'm in charge now. And she challenges him to a duel. Makes sense. I understand it. It's something that's going to be honored. He can't really back down for it. And CJ, you said you hated that duel. I didn't think it was that bad. There were aspects of it I thought were dumb. Like if you're trying to kill someone and they're not wearing helmets, why don't you have guns? Because he was also like launching rockets at her.
Yeah.
That was they're fighting with knives. They're shooting rockets into random groups of bystanders.
Yeah.
But they're trying to get each other to submit at the same time. Like, it makes no sense.
It's
a
Disney Mandalorian challenge, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it should have been. If they're gonna do that,
It
it
should
would
just
have
be
been way
knife-
better.
Like combat hand-to-hand.
So in
combat
Knights of the
only.
Old Republic 2,
Yep,
the way it works
exactly.
is like the person being challenged gets to pick the weapons, and then they
Yeah.
get in a big circle with non-lethal weapons, and they fight each other,
Mm-hmm.
which would have made way more sense than shooting a rocket at someone you're trying to not kill.
Yeah.
Flamethrower.
Yeah, it really does. It really doesn't make sense. It also doesn't make sense that when someone holds their shield up here and you got a flamethrower, you don't just like shift it down. You know,
Yeah.
Or the flames don't like
go around.
the
Wrap
heat.
around.
Yeah. But that's a little nitpicky
No,
in my
a
opinion.
little nitpicky. The fight itself, I thought was a little bit better than what we've seen in the past as
Yeah.
far as Mando combat. Like they
Were up on the
jetpacks.
ship.
Yeah.
They were. I expected them. Well, yeah, I expected CJ. I expected like a pause, a fade to black, and then we open up and they're in a circle, and instead of just right away, which was, I guess,
Yeah, I don't hate all
Unexpected.
of that. It is annoying. I will agree, CJ, but I didn't hate that. But she wins her fleet back.
No,
And,
she doesn't.
Well, when she beats him, she does.
I mean, I guess
No,
it's
they're
implied
not going to
that-
follow her because
Yeah,
she doesn't have
they
the
said
dark saber.
sorry.
Yeah, but she still was in charge of them without the dark saber before, though.
but they
weren't
left.
gonna do anything.
They left.
He said,
Yeah.
"Why would we we're not?"
Yeah,
nobody's
he
gonna
still
follow you."
questioned her after she.
You can follow
won.
someone as a clan without them being the true leader of Mandalore.
Correct,
We're not-
but I don't think they
That
were going
doesn't
to.
make a lot.
Yeah.
If
Well, they
she's
follow
not the true leader of
armorer.
Mandalore, why is she going to follow?
The one clan follows the armorer, and she's not the leader of Mandalore.
Yeah,
All these
but if your
different
leader
clans
tells
have
you we're
house.
gonna do something and you say no, are they really leading you?
I guess I just didn't. I figured that when she beat him, she got her stuff back, and people could choose to follow her if they wanted to.
Yeah,
But
if they wanted to.
Right.
I don't think many would do
I didn't
that.
know if they were going to or not.
The guy was saying nobody was gonna follow.
Yeah.
him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I should.
They
watch
have
it
no
again.
reason.
That's how I interpret it as well.
I guess.
So.
He's like, yeah, you may have beat me, but the true leader.
I guess
kinda
also what happened shortly after that, she says like Mandalorians are stronger together. We need to go together, and so maybe that's what they're saying. Like we're not going to.
Which, yeah, I mean, we don't even have a chance to see if what would have even happened.
Yeah.
Who would have actually followed her?
So they say Din needs, or the ruler of Mandalore has to have the dark saber, and we all saw what happened with that. Did you guys all feel like that was a stupid rule?
Yeah, because
But
once
like,
again, this
I
goes
feel like
back.
they were like, well, technically.
Yes, exactly.
Surely.
They're like finding a loophole in the Constitution or something. They're like, well, according to sub rule B, line A,
But then they're still wrong. They're still wrong.
They are, because if you think about it, Maul was the ruler of Mandalore. He was defeated
Yeah.
by Palpatine. Palpatine, whether he wanted the darksaber or not, is now the ruler of it according to the story, right? And
Yeah.
after that point, because we don't know how.
Luke Skywalker.
Oh yeah, we do. So at that point, Vader kills Palps. Luke,
Yeah, so technically Vader is.
Vader would be the ruler. Luke kind of killed Vader. I mean, or did Palps kill Vader? Either way, even if Vader died with it,
Luke's the last one standing.
Luke would be the,
Yeah.
Luke would be the descendant of Vader, so it would go to him. So Luke should be the leader of Mandalore right now, at this time frame.
I'm for it.
Yeah, if we're gonna go on the technicality.
And then
Also,
somehow Moff
he
Gideon
was
got it.
like
Yeah, and so would
not
Moff
defeated
Gideon.
in combat. He was like trapped. It was like a bear trap.
Yeah, there was
Yeah, it
no
was
there
not-
was no
There's no
combat.
fight.
He was just captured. Okay.
And
So
then
does that mean that
Bo
that
just
little-
picks up the saber and is like, "Oh, I'm gonna use this."
Yeah.
Chop,
Does
chop,
that
chop.
mean that little spider droid was temporarily the
ruler
ruler
of
of Mandalore? Is that what we're saying?
That needs to be
Yeah,
a meme.
exactly.
How has no one
You
made
guys
that
didn't know that?
meme?
Oh.
So stupid, man.
And
That's
is he
what
even
Bo
dead? We
said.
don't know if he's dead.
And it just doesn't make sense too, because their culture is so the way that they've made this new Mandalorian culture is that it's all enshrined in like honor and story, and just this tradition, right? And if you're just gonna go and say like, well, technically this happened and this happened, that has like no backbone to it whatsoever. You know what I mean?
Very
Yeah.
weak.
I would have rather had something like Mandalorian actually fought somebody. Maybe like, what's his face? Paz Vizsla decides to fight Mando and beats him. And then Bo takes it that way. Or it looks like Mando is being weeded out of this show. Just have a confrontation and Bo kills Mando if that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Or have someone else kill Mando and Bo kills the person that kills Mando, right? But just having this weird, you captured me and I killed the person that captured you, so no, I am the owner of the Darksaber.
A Kanan Jarrus sacrifice?
Yeah, I mean, something like that. Because, let's get into that now. I think the episode's about done and we hated it. Is Din Djarin losing the main role of the show? Like, do you guys think that's where the show's headed?
Phew.
This story,
wouldn't
this
surprise me.
season has 100% focused on Bo. Or, I should say, majority focused on Bo-Katan. Din's had very few speaking lines. I think part of it may be, we heard in season 2 there were issues with Pedro Pascal. Whether that's confirmed or not, we don't know for sure. But we do believe that there have been issues with Pedro Pascal wanting to be on screen more. And he's had very limited lines this season.
Yeah.
Bo has by far been the primary character in this season. And I think that we are heading down a path to where she's going to be the Mandalorian. I just don't see really any way that that's not the case. I mean, like we said, Din Djarin has had no conflict this season. He has no purpose right now other than just raising Grogu. He just is kind of on for the ride. You know what I mean?
Get him back.
I think this is all a weird, like, Disney money ploy.
There has
what
to
I'll
be.
just
There's
say.
no way there isn't something going on behind the scenes. Someone pulling some strings, corporate saying we need. Because even Jake, you mentioned
Like an article.
Grogu really
Yeah,
hasn't
article.
been doing much of anything this season. We've gotten that one Order
Zero.
66 flashback, which honestly
He didn't
kind
do
of
much
feels
then
a
either.
little shoddy if you follow the line of thinking with someone's pulling the strings. It doesn't look as much thought out as the other ones, or as intentional, I guess is a better way of saying it. And has he really done anything since? Not really. I mean, like you said, he got Mando. He kind of saved him when he was trapped to go get Bo, but that's about it.
Yeah, I
So-
mean,
He's an object.
Yeah.
so this
Plot
is what I
device.
want to get into, and this is why I'm worried about Star Wars. My question is, has Jon Favreau lost the ability to write and direct good Star Wars, or is this more corporate meddling? Did he have something else planned, and they said, no, do this, or is this what he wanted to do, with a couple exceptions? So is this a story he wrote, and they said, add Grogu back in? Okay? Because that's the thing. This doesn't make sense in my eyes. If you are going to phase out Din Djarin because the actor doesn't want to play the character anymore or whatever it is, if you're going to do that, you have to. It's a tough thing. It's probably not what you want to do for your story. It may hurt your story. But if you're going to, it doesn't make sense to bring Grogu back in this season. It would have made perfect sense for Grogu to be alone for this season, and then whenever he comes back, it's with someone else because Din is either dead or just out of the picture, or you figure out something else to do with Grogu, or you just say, look, Din, you're not going to want to come back, instead of just phasing you out slowly, let's just go in straight to season 3 and say Din's story ended. Season 2 would have been a fine point to end Din Djarin's story. It would have.
It would have been a tough sell.
Yeah.
A lot of people would have been very annoyed and like they would have had to be some great writing of explaining that, but it could have been done.
Yeah, I mean,
And I would have.
It would have been
better
okay.
than this.
It would have been better than this. Agreed.
They could have literally just like ended the whole scene where he takes the dark saber back to the Mandalorians and just ended it there.
For him, you mean?
Which
Yeah, just for him.
I mean, we
personally,
could
like,
see
he
him
drops Luke
later,
off, or
like
drops him off of Luke, and
maybe some things where like Bo-Katan tries to challenge him for it or something.
yeah, and just like a cameo.
But the show shouldn't be centered around him, but not really centered around him. You know what I mean? Because it's just you keep wanting his character progression to go on, but it doesn't. Because we're like, all right, he's our main character. Let's see what happens with him, and then nothing does. So I wonder if there's corporate meddling, if this is the story he actually wanted to write, or if he's just trying to deal with some other kind of things going on behind the scenes. And it just makes me really worried.
I think that it has to be meddling because they wanted. So having Grogu come back, if you are going to do that, come back in a show that's not The Mandalorian doesn't make any sense from like a cohesive writing perspective. Like people who don't just like who casually follow the show probably wouldn't have known like that you had to watch the Book of Boba Fett
Right.
because it's tied into the Mandalorian.
That
so
absolutely
heavily.
was corporate meddling. 100% that part. For
And
sure.
so then you do that. Any story points by having like Grogu come back, it kind of throws off Din. Any story they wanted to do with Din by himself. Also with Pedro Pascal now doing The Last of Us
Mhm.
and preferring that seemingly just because his face is in it and he's more of like a recognizable star in it, which is understandable.
Mhm.
It's also an HBO show, which are usually
Very
really
successful.
well received.
Mhm.
You kind of lose the access that you had to him. He's not gonna like. That's
Bend over
probably why they.
he'll be
had him
harder to
go
work
back.
with. He'll kind of throw his weight right around a little more.
Oh, he definitely can.
Well,
has
that's
more
also
arguing.
that's probably why his helmet had to come back too and go through that whole weird redemption thing, because now they can have him record lines and have a stunt double instead of having him like on screen.
Oh yeah, they can have him come in on 1 or 2 days, remotely record his lines, and pay him for those 2 days and be done with it.
And so I think they're slowly phasing. They didn't want to, I don't think, at the end of season 2 necessarily, but I think they're gonna phase him out
Yes.
just because of real life contract issues.
I hope that's not the case.
Yeah, I
Um,
could follow that logic.
I do hope that's the case because I think that means that they're not losing their touch on writing. They're
Yeah.
just having to deal with real world things.
That
and
would
they can
help,
kind of turn it
yeah.
around
yeah,
when they get
just
more
end
freedom.
the reason that I
Please.
worry that may not be true is because in a recent interview, Jon Favreau said that he is still writing stories for Din and Grogu and plans on their story to be continued for several seasons.
Is that what he
Okay.
said? What did he say Din and Grogu, or did he say the Mandalorian?
Let me see if I
'Cause I
believe-
think
I thought he said Din and Grogu, but I can double
when-
check it.
both of those as side quests, like rarely. They
I
show
think
up.
Dan will probably be in it. They're gonna limit him because he's not gonna be, or they're gonna do what they've done now,
Yeah.
just because Pedro Pascal's not there.
Because John Favreau's comments now kind of could make a little more sense if he's kind of giving a blanket answer like, "Oh yeah, I haven't really thought of an ending. I don't have an ending in mind for these characters." Well, because we're not going to get them in the next season or two. So, and he's not going to tell us, "Yeah, they're leaving in the next season." So that open-endedness kind of could make a little more sense.
Okay, so it is kind of vague. Here's what he says exactly. When asked about the plan for the end of this story, he says, "I think that's the beauty of this, is that it's a middle chapter of a much larger story. And though we'll have resolution over time with these characters, it's not like there's a finale that we're building to that I have in mind. Quite the contrary, I love for these stories to go on and on. And so these characters potentially could be with us for a while. I really love telling stories in their voice, and I love the way the adventures unfold. I'm looking forward to doing much more."
Yeah, that was
Sounds
about
like
as
if
vague
Pedro
as you
wants
could be.
to sign back on,
Yeah.
he is welcome.
Yeah. And we have to think they're also trying to build a Star Wars cinematic universe here.
So that's my other
That's the
point.
other problem. I think that's a
Yes.
problem.
Yeah, I think that what it
Yeah.
does is with 8 episodes, everything that you try to push forward, whether like Rangers of the New Republic was trying to set up, that's what my idea was. Rangers of the New Republic, I think, was supposed to be the show that sets up the big problem that all the other shows are working around and through. Does that make sense? So Ahsoka has a portion of that story. Book of Boba Fett maybe has a portion of that. Skeleton Crew has a portion of that. Mando has a portion of that. They all have a portion of that story that they contribute to. But I felt that Rangers of the New Republic was going to be the one that like kind of said, here's the big problem. Here's the New Republic trying to fight against it. And here are all the other people that are also dealing with this problem as well.
The Defenders TV show.
Yeah. But with the absence of that show, I feel like so many plans just got kind of shoved into this season of Mandalorian. And maybe that's part of the reason it took 2.5 years to get here. But if you're going to have 2.5 years, I said it again, and 8 episodes, you need to have those
Most of them 30
episodes
minutes.
count. They have to count. And we just have so much time where they don't. And that's where I'm like, John, I understand that you are set with limits and you've got corporate down your back, but like, you've got to make Jon Favreau, not John McKeever. You've got to make these episodes count. They have to. You can't afford this stuff in between. And I don't know if they're like saying, we're going to give, this is my overall story that Jon Favreau writes, and then when he gives these episodes to other people to direct them, is he kind of giving them free reign to say, do what you want with this and just make sure that this happens? Because if that's the case, man, it's just bad. Like, they've
So
got to
that
get
Kind of
happens.
how like
That's how
I
it
think they've
feels.
just been reeling since Disney made him bring back Grogu, man. Like, that's kind of where The Mandalorian fell apart. Like, is those two. Like, it's been hard to follow since Book of Boba Fett to now.
Mhm.
I think maybe they're just trying to bridge the gap because this isn't what they wanted at all.
Yeah.
And like you said, it took 2.5 years because they got to figure out a bunch of new stuff now.
Yeah, I hope that going forward. I know John, you just commented in our chat. The plan is to have Mando season 4 December next year.
how since when?
That's just what I had read somewhere.
That would surprise me.
I don't recall. I'd have to look at.
I think they
like,
could do
the
it.
Source.
I think they've had to reel long enough now where they can kind of maybe they
Actually,
flounder
yeah.
this way. and
That
kind
would
of
be
establish
almost
where they're going.
That'd be
almost two. That'd be
years.
almost 2 years again. So yeah, I guess that tracks. A year and
It'd be a year and a
8
half.
months.
Year and a half.
Something like that. Yeah. So it'd be better than 2 years and 5 months like we got this time. So.
But honestly, if we're just gonna get more of this, is it better? Do we even
Yeah,
need that
I
show
mean,
anymore?
That's the question, man. And I know that how you feel about it, John. David and CJ, hopefully you're a little bit more on my side. But this is why I liked Andor so much. I felt that each episode built on the previous episode. And
Spent enough time on the plot.
yeah,
and
it's
story.
the plot
They wrote
was
things.
the plot was really good. Whether you
It was
liked the
cohesive.
whether you liked the pacing of it and you maybe thought it was boring, the plot did build. Everything was connected. Every character.
What was the plot
connected.
again? I don't think I remember.
Okay, I mean,
Andor has to
Andor
get a
gets
grip
a job.
with reality.
Andor,
Andor
has-
needs Andor needs
needs
a
money.
midlife crisis life check. That's what it is.
He's a man who's shifting through life without a real purpose, discovers that even though he disagrees with the Empire, that they can be beat and that he has to sacrifice what he can to beat them because so many people around him have.
Not to get off on a
Assassin.
tangent, but we're gonna get off on a tangent.
That's one
Would that
character. But
show-
there was so much other stuff around it that was also
Would that
good.
show be good if you didn't know that Andor was going to be an integral part of the rebellion? Because in that show, you really don't see him get from A to, like, let's say
It's
A to
a-
Z. He gets like A to C.
Yeah,
If Z is
I
rebellion,
think
we'll
that
see
that's
what
good though.
Season 2
Yeah.
is C to Z is season 2, isn't it?
true.
No,
yeah,
there should
season
be
2.
3 seasons, correct?
There's 3 now. I heard
Are
2.
there just
I
two?
heard two.
Okay, yeah.
First half
Wow.
is like 2 years, and the second half is another 2 years, something like
Yeah,
that.
like every 3 episodes is 1 year. That's right, because
Yeah.
we're currently 4 years away from.
So that's got to be more chop chop.
Yeah.
Each
Well-
episode, but each episode is heavy.
So to your
Anyways.
point, John, like, yes, he's not getting very far, but yes, also the rebellion isn't organized.
Yeah. I
So,
felt like it was
it makes
all.
sense.
I thought it was really. I guess you know how I feel about it.
The show at least had direction.
It
Like,
did.
A lot of and some really
And
good writing.
so
Not
much
like it.
thought put into it about how each character was connected to one another. There was no wasted characters or episodes in that had no value on the entire story.
Bix.
Bix, his girl, that's how they found out where he was, is through her. That's how they were able to trace him back home.
yeah, she was also the
No, it was
contact
because
with
his mom
Luthen.
died.
Yeah,
It was because his mom
but
died.
because of her, they found out
He met
what she
Luthen.
was. That's how she met Luthen as well. They also
Yeah.
tortured her and found out how she was communicating with him, and they listened on the tower to figure out how they could convince him to come back, or it was something along those lines.
Yeah, that torture scene was pretty
Yeah.
good, John.
Was it though?
Yeah,
I
it's great.
memed the
a fun
tar out
time.
of it. I memed the tar Vizsla out of it.
Yeah, I felt that it. I mean, you can't argue that was whether you liked the content or maybe the pacing. You didn't like. I've heard people say it was boring. I did not personally think it was boring,
It
but
was kind of boring.
Yeah,
if you thought
it's
it
definitely not
was,
for everybody.
I understand that.
First three episodes.
I will understand. I would agree the first three were
Yeah,
not
First three
fantastic.
aren't the best.
But it was written well and directed well 100%, to where the story was
Oh, waste the
cohesive.
character. Cyril.
Cyril Karn. I still think he's
Yeah.
going to have something in season 2 though.
Maybe.
Is he gonna
We'll see.
He's gonna find a new girl to stalk.
Well, no, there's just going to be Power Couple season 2.
Oh no. They did have some sexual tension at the end of
Oh,
that
100%.
the finale in that little shack thing.
Oh,
Love
that guy.
shack.
So
Anyways.
let's get back to Mando.
He looks like he'd be an RA, right?
He would.
Excuse me, I noticed you checked in at 10 o'clock and 30 seconds.
10 minutes first floor.
I see it lights out. By the way, I see that you missed chapel the other day by 3 minutes.
5 minutes.
Do you just not love Jesus? All right. Anyways,
$25.
for those of you that have no idea what we're talking about, we went to a religious school, and we're making fun of it. So,
Just harmlessly. There's no hard feelings for me.
yeah, I mean, me too.
It's just
fun,
senseless.
yeah, it's
Or
just-
no, the school isn't senseless. The
It
fun
is.
is just
It
it's
is.
just
It's both.
it's just harmless.
But it's fun
Harmless. So I was
sometimes.
looking for the
Harmless
word harmless,
humor, yes.
not senseless.
Yes. Okay.
Freudian slip there.
What can this season do to save it? In the last 2 episodes, do you think there's anything it can do?
Introduce something big.
No,
Introduce something huge.
we got to talk about the stuff we liked. A couple,
Dude,
just a couple good
I
things.
can't really think of anything.
Fine, I'll do some.
I
I'll do a
thought the
couple things.
line "You had me at battle droids" was funny. That was really the only thing.
The scene where Bo and
The
Din
Mandalorian.
open the doors. Did no one think Empire Strikes Back?
I did think that. Yes.
Leia, Han, and Vader.
Speaking of that scene, it did remind me of that very much so, actually. Which is funny because I just watched behind the scenes of how
Yeah,
that scene was
okay.
made, and how like when Han shoots the gun, he fires one shot, but then they only had like one blast in the gun, so they freeze, cut to Vader, and she hands him another gun, and she fires that shot, and then she grabs the end of the gun and pulls it, but on camera you can't see her grabbing the end. She pulls it, and then they just keep practicing throwing the gun to Vader for him to catch. It's hilarious. You got to go back and watch it.
Practical effects.
But in that scene, did you guys notice anything continuity error in this show from its own previous seasons?
In this episode of Mando?
In this episode of Mandu, there was a continuity error, not from anything else in the show, but just within Mandalorian. It contradicted itself.
If you're gonna, are you gonna say that Axe Woes didn't have an accent?
No, I did
Okay.
see that. I have no idea how.
Because
that
I
is.
don't. That's not
I
accurate.
don't
He
care.
said like
Leia's
one word
accent
in
changed
season
like
2.
5 times. So, no. The frogman that was sitting at the table.
Yeah.
They said that he was the last frogman of his kind. And that was the only way that they were going to keep the species alive was if her eggs got fertilized. And then we just see this other frog dude sitting there. Is that his kid? Do they just age extremely quickly? Maybe.
Was
I
that a
guess.
dude or was that a chick?
I don't know. It was just a frog
Could have been a
person.
chick.
It doesn't matter.
No, yeah, it does.
I guess if there's 2 women.
It can be a lady, and because you need
I
a man.
suppose.
There you go.
You mean the
Check
two
that off.
one? The
You're
two from the
welcome,
ship?
John. I'm saving your booty.
The 2 from the ship?
So
Yeah, from Frog Lady.
remember Frog
Okay.
Lady?
Yeah, no, I remember her.
So in this scene where Jack Black and Lizzo are first at, in that dinner scene that they're having, there's a frog person
The
sitting
secretion.
there. This-
I realized in my
Oh.
second watch through that he said, "I hope you like secretions,"
Yes.
and then they had the squid thing, fish thing up top, and they were drinking its
Yeah,
juice. I was like,
disgusting.
Ew.
Yeah.
What
it's
if
gross.
that's them? What if that's the
Highly
the same
unlikely.
people?
I
And
guess it is
everybody just follows him where he goes.
Yeah. So
I've
that
got at
was
least 1 or 2 other things.
dude.
Like good
luck,
things?
man.
So, no, we're going back to negative stuff. The B2 battle droid. Did any of you kind of wonder how it could run with that much grip on like smooth stone with its metal feet?
Like Durasteel? Like
Yeah, it
steel
was
on
just like,
steel?
how is he just like
What's up?
denting the floors he runs
Yeah.
along, or else he would just
Yeah,
slip and
he's-
slide?
He's got like all-terrain tires on.
11.
The bottom of
Got
his
four-wheel
foot's
drive,
just
bro.
extra.
Yep, he's got to be in bed by 11.
It's magnetic to any substance.
Oh yeah, magnetic. Yeah, they've had those magnetic
Yep.
valve
Phones.
legs.
Phones.
Although
plug
Yeah, see,
in,
Dale,
alarm
I can
turn
believe
on.
that.
I don't think supers have that, but
Thank you, coach.
I don't know. Could be wrong.
All right, good.
Peli Motto was just lying
Bye.
to Mando to get him to take Frog Lady. I could believe
Yeah.
that.
I can see it. Everybody tricks him into
Shrewd.
doing side quests. Everyone can do it.
And he's just a pushover. He's a Mandalorian. He could just be like, "No, give me your money."
Too nice. I'm reformed.
Well, he has a kid now.
I have a baby. I can't do
He changes
violence.
people.
I have to do side quests. Can't do bounties.
Did I forget to mute? Sorry.
No, you were muted.
Oh, I was? Dale said I forgot to mute.
Yeah.
I mean, you muted eventually
Oh, no. It's got my audio kept in,
on YouTube.
yeah, on YouTube. Whoops, sorry. You guys heard my phone call with one of my baseball players. Apologies.
Gotta make sure you mute
No.
both,
Was it
son.
a good one?
Yeah, I gave my baseball team, I said, look, I know our game is at 5 tomorrow, but your body still needs a regular rest cycle. Don't stay up because we're on spring break. So don't stay up gaming till 3 a.m. Get some good rest. Go to bed by 11. Get a good night of rest. So one of my seniors called, who's on the varsity team, and he's like, Coach Vossen, what's Avery's bedtime? Who's on my JV team? I said 11. Make sure he's in bed. He's like, well, he's at my house right now, so he's going to have to hurry back home. I said, you better send him back home. I'm going to hold you accountable or something along those lines. So,
Facts.
yep.
Push-ups, 2 miles.
No, he's a good kid.
He used to run
There
them.
was at least one other good thing.
Yeah, super battle droids.
I mean, the tubes. Those are cool.
Yeah.
What tubes?
Dude,
oh,
those
the
reminded me,
transportation?
if you guys have seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, Boomies. You watched it, right?
Boom
yeah.
Jake?
The
Yeah.
Boomy
carts.
City
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
that are
Yeah.
that are earthbended.
It reminded me
Those are
of the Mon Cala tubes that they used
Yeah.
in the Clone Wars.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the animated, the other one.
Yeah.
Did they do it in both ones? I know Kit Fisto was in
I
the
just
one,
remember
but
the
I don't think they.
I think it was just one arc with the shark.
yeah, Shark Boy.
Shark dude, Count.
Dude,
what
when
was
he
his name?
When he gets killed, though, as
That
a
was
kid, I was like,
tense.
"Dang, here's his head floating around in the bloody water."
What's his name? It's Count something.
Dooku.
No,
No, I don't remember.
Count
I'm gonna.
I want to go to that
Shark
planet and see those people.
Count.
You know what I mean?
Calamari?
Rift
No.
Tamsin.
Rift Tamsin. Yeah, that's right. No, wherever that
guy.
shark dude was from. I want to see that planet. Shark's my favorite animal, if you didn't know.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Shark bait. Ooh aha.
Sharknado.
Yeah, well,
Great movie.
Finding Nemo.
All 10.
First movie I ever saw in theaters was Finding Nemo.
Congratulations.
And then
Wow.
my next one was Attack of the Clones.
Wow.
Oh,
My
but
first movie
Toy Story
was was Lewis and Clark. It,
Lewis and
Dude,
Clark, like
It was-
1979.
he wasn't a
it
count.
was some
Dale.
IMAX.
I don't know
IMAX.
what John's talking about.
I thought his name was
His
Count
name was just
Tamsin.
Rift. Maybe it was like some
Count
Captain
Tangent.
Tamsin. I don't know. Mother Talzin.
She can.
That's what they should name all their villains
Just
in these
count
side
something.
quests. Is just like Count's tangent. General
Count
sidetrack.
Maybe he was gonna become a count or
I
something.
don't recall. I think he talked to Count Dooku a few times. Maybe just.
Maybe that's
Moff
what it was.
rabbit hole.
So is there anything you guys? So David, you kind of touched on this. The next episode, it has to be a 2-part finale. You cannot.
Gotta be something huge has to get introduced.
Yeah, and it has to start at the beginning of the episode.
You mean
what I
not at 5 minutes at the end?
Exactly. The beginning of the episode, something big needs to happen.
Also, the same guy is directing both.
Good.
The dude who.
That means we're getting an interconnected story, guys.
You would hope.
Can you believe it?
Rick Famuyiwa.
Okay. Yeah, he did season 2 stuff.
He did some. He did and season 1.
Although I do think that was a Frog Lady episode, though. Mandalorian episodes by director.
Dies inside.
Rick Famuyiwa.
Dude, yeah, and we had Frog Lady in this episode. Dude, we're getting her back.
He directed
It's gonna
4
happen.
episodes. Direct and wrote 2 episodes. EP to
Okay,
8.
he did chapter 2 of season 1, The Child. So that's where Din brings Grogu back to.
Yeah.
May I see the child?
Yes, and then he fights the stormtroopers inside there.
That was a good scene.
Yeah.
No, that was a good one.
He also did The Prisoner, which was a terrible one. With the first time we see.
I didn't mind.
I didn't mind that one. It was kind of like
That's
a
not-
horror.
that's not
a
a
horror
terrible
episode.
It wasn't terrible.
liked it.
I didn't like the music, I guess, is the only issue I really had with it.
Oh.
Yeah, music wasn't great.
Yeah.
No.
The rest of it was fine. And then he did in season 2 The Believer, which was a really good episode.
Season 2, The Believer. Yeah, that was the one
Which
with
one's
the one we talked about earlier in the
So
show.
he's done both of the episodes with Bill Burr. He's done both episodes with Bill Burr.
Okay.
You get more Bill Burr.
So maybe
I'm
we're getting
for it.
Bill Burr, episode 7 and 8 of season 3.
For it.
That would make the show better at this point.
He's actually a good character. I
Yeah.
found him to be interesting.
Do you like his character?
I don't think I don't know, maybe we will, but he did kind of just like run off into the jungle after his last time we saw him. So he did. It was so weird, man.
We cut to him and he's in a loincloth
He's like
Dude, Bill-
freaking Tarzan.
telling
Yo,
jokes
Bill
to
Burr-
some coconuts.
Bill Burr is the Looney Tunes dude that's always hunting for wabbits.
Elmer Fudd.
Elmer Fudd.
Yeah.
You know the funny thing about Bill Burr? He hates
Secret
Star
Apes.
Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had
that's well known.
some story where like his friend is a nerd who met like a famous basketball
Yeah,
player.
Mates Mayfeld. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
And then- No.
No, go ahead.
No. I was gonna say, and so when that friend threw that in his face, he got back at him by throwing to his nerd friend that he got to be in Star Wars.
I think
That's
he
awesome.
wins.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Oh, if only we all could be so lucky. I mean, all right.
I'd love to write me some Star Wars.
That's what I was just about to say. Do they legitimately need to get like? Isn't this something
like to see the
that writers do, where they will test things by an audience and like say, "Hey, what do you guys feel about this?" Don't they like?
Yeah, they do that. That's common.
So why?
I think
is
that's
Star
harder to
Wars-
do with a TV show.
Yeah.
Like
I agree.
on
They usually
on
do
a
it with
schedule.
movies. What are they? Audience screen tests,
yeah.
and
Or
to see how they
maybe
react
you
to
just
certain
even
concepts.
do it with a storyboard or something. You know what I mean? Just have some people in there
Us.
that people like us. You know, get Star Wars.
We are them.
Get people
John are,
from
like, minorly
different
qualified.
groups. You know, you want to get some people that like the Disney stuff because there are people that love all.
Because
This
well,
stuff.
that's the problem. I'm glad you brought that up because it's hard to not sound gatekeepy
Mhm.
when someone says that a normie's gonna. Most normies, some normies like this episode.
Mhm. Because
They
like,
this-
it's fun
because
Star
it's
Wars
fun. Yeah,
stuff.
it's Star
Mhm.
Wars is supposed to be fun, and this is fun. But it's kind of funny. I have a coworker, and he watched Mandalorian last night, and since I was online work, and he was messaging me live reactions to what was happening, and he's like, "Wait, is that Lizzo and Jack Black? What on earth?" He's like, "This B2 battle droid is sprinting like Usain Bolt. It's like a droid bar."
Yeah, droid bar. That's
A
nothing to
droid
talk about.
morgue? Like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, Dale's saying that for Andor they did do some audience testing.
I could believe that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
The wrong audience.
Well, because they actually, like, we heard about episodes before they even happened that, like, these three are gonna, seem like one episode when
Mhm.
they
Yeah,
released
that's
them
true.
all at once for this reason.
I would rather stuff get spoiled and be good, because you can avoid that stuff
Yeah.
than be like, we're gonna keep a hush hush, and no one's gonna know how much our stuff sucks. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
We're gonna guess here, guys.
I don't know.
because it just
I'm
doesn't
not
hit on
totally
so
out of
many
hope.
notes. You're not,
Yeah.
CJ?
No, I will be more so if they absolutely botch their next, like, I think is that, what's their next stuff
Ahsoka.
that's coming out?
Well, no, we
Okay,
get
so
Visions. We
Ahsoka-
get Visions
Acolyte.
on May 4th.
Which is for lack of a better term, it's inconsequential, but it should be
Yeah.
good and fun and
But on
Yeah,
something
it
like
should be
Visions,
entertaining and
I'm not
interesting.
going to be angry if it doesn't fit my needs. Like what I want. But with your flagship show, you have to be really protective of it and make sure it hits. But like Visions can have some episodes that suck. Like I wasn't mad that they had that Boba Fett
Rhapsody on
episode.
Tatooine?
Yeah, I wasn't mad about that. It was just like, you know what? There's probably
it was a
some
great
kids. There's
episode.
probably some kids
I
that really
didn't mind
liked
it.
it. That's fine. But with like
thought it was
Mandalorian,
Fun.
this
It
is
was
what
it
we've
was
been-
Joseph Gordon-Levitt was the main dude.
okay.
Oh,
That
really?
show's also like
Funny.
really experimental though.
Yeah.
So they're trying to push things and you kind of
It's a
go
different
into.
studio.
Even
every
if it
episode.
I
wasn't-
think if they mess up Ahsoka or their next standalone show, I'll be more worried. But
Like
I
Acolyte
don't know.
and
I don't. There's
Ahsoka,
nothing
yeah.
from like the 2 to 3 bridge or the 2 to Boba Fett bridge that should have given us like super high hopes for this.
Yeah.
So I think it's more of we'll see what happens, and if season 4 is also bad, I'll be more worried.
I think that Ahsoka should be really good. Dave Filoni's written and directed, I believe, every episode of that. Like, it's been his
Yeah.
project. I think maybe he's been a little hands-off with this season. He said several times in interviews that Mandalorian is Jon Favreau's thing that he's helped with, kind of. So
Yeah,
I
I
feel
agree.
like maybe this season Jon Favreau kind of has had a little bit more of a leash here. Because, I mean, Favreau, like, sent scripts to Filoni, and Filoni wasn't really doing anything with it at the beginning. Eventually, Filoni got involved. It's a Favreau thing. And I love
Yeah,
Jon
I
Favreau.
agree.
I think he knows what he's doing. But this season just definitely raised some question marks for me about the future.
But
The
so I just had
metal
a
claims,
realization.
man.
I had a realization. So what was our problem with Andor? Well, one of the problems that I had with Andor. It wasn't all about Andor. So they shouldn't have called it Andor.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're getting to the Mandalorian. I mean, I stated last week it's about a Mandalorian, the Mandalorian. So okay, whatever. Now I'm thinking, are we gonna have the same problem with Ahsoka, where it's not really gonna be about Ahsoka, and they should have called it a different name?
I don't think
Which-
that's going to
no.
happen just because of Dave Filoni's absolute infatuation with Ahsoka.
Really,
Yeah.
his absolute
He
infatuation.
loves Ahsoka.
Better not be Martez
That's his
twins.
character, isn't it?
Her
Yeah.
sisters.
The Martez sisters are also his creation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so, like,
but Ahsoka's like
Yeah, no, his
constant.
Ahsoka is his
His baby.
yes, his
And
child.
they did fine with Ahsoka in the short
far,
stories
yeah.
thing that they did. So those were good. So they can still write. They ended the Bad Batch pretty well, I thought.
Yeah. That does give me some confidence. The Bad Batch ended really well, and in my opinion, I thought it was a good season. I mean, season 2 of Bad Batch I enjoyed much more than I've enjoyed the season 4 or season 3 of Mando.
agreed.
And it was better than season 1 of the Bad Batch. So
Mhm.
like they're still I don't know, I think it's mostly just the Mandalorian right now.
Yeah.
And then Kenobi. That was the problem. Kenobi was really
Kenobi,
bad.
that's the one I forgot. Kenobi was
And
all
then
about Reva. Not
Boba
all,
Fett
but-
was bad. And then
Oh,
this has been bad. And since it's all been sandwiched together, like
Recency
been-
bias.
it's
been
looked
3
really
rough
bad,
ones.
but there have been some other stuff that's not as big that's still been all right.
Yeah, I mean,
That's still
Andor
have
was
been
really good in my opinion. Bad Batch was good. Tales of the Jedi was good. So, I mean, it's not a lost cause. I guess it's just as frustrating with your flagship
their
show.
headliners, yeah, their headliners aren't doing hot. Like
The
Kenobi,
The things that are so hard to miss, you know? Like, they have all these paths that they start to go down in Mando, and then they choose not
Yeah.
to. You know, things that they could explore and make great, but they choose not to. Man,
Well,
And I think they
Completed
will.
quest.
I think
Yeah.
they'll get there.
I hope so. I really do. I hope that season 4
I mean, you
is
thought
fantastic.
seasons 1 and 2 were good, right?
Loved them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I think this could potentially just be a bump in the road.
Yeah, I mean, and shows.
I don't think they just lost the ability to write.
Yeah, shows have had bad seasons before, and bounced back. So my hope is just that Disney does not overreact and just like,
Breaking Bad.
That's
sure
what'll
is.
kill it.
yeah,
Is if Disney makes them write it poorly. I
yes,
feel like.
yes,
Yeah.
And this is why, like, it really just seems more and more evident, like, the longer we go, that there's just, like, two camps in Disney. It's like one camp just making things worse, and one camp.
trying
to hobble along. Yeah.
Doing their best.
It just points to the fact that Kathleen Kennedy has to get fired. If you're in charge of it and so many things keep falling apart, I mean, there's a rumor that if a movie doesn't come out by 2025 that she is getting fired. I almost like
Or if it doesn't do well.
It almost
yeah.
makes you pray a movie doesn't come out just so we can get her fired. Because I feel like she should have been fired yesterday. Or probably a year ago, 2 years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah, just like as soon as
I mean, just when you can't get people
Obi-Wan,
to stay.
man.
If you just can't get people to stay and make
Yeah,
things-
so many people leave.
Yeah, I mean, just like that's what you're in charge of. You're not actually, in my opinion, you shouldn't be in charge of writing stories and stuff. If you're the person,
Yeah, she's
you should just be hired.
not a
people.
creative visionary.
Yes, exactly.
that definitely should be Dave Filoni. Like the dude already.
I
did
still
it.
want him writing stuff though.
Yeah,
And if you're
but, like,
if you're a producer
Filoni, you mean?
or president, you can't
like
be writing
he
stuff.
he should be given full reign to find the best people.
Well, here's the thing with
Possible.
Kevin Feige. He was in charge of hiring and the overall story. And the people that he put in place usually did a pretty good job of writing their own individual story and connecting it to the end. But I feel like what's happening here is Kennedy and others, who of course I don't know all the names of everybody, but they want this overall who overall want this cinematic universe, which I'm a fan of. I like the idea of it all being connected. But when we're breaking up every episode to be directed by a different person, I'm not feeling that they're connecting the pieces together well. Kind of like how the Marvel Cinematic movies did connect well, and they brought everything together. But I feel like with these different episodes, within each show, it's not getting connected. Maybe the shows will connect well later on as we get more and more of them, but it's just worrisome, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they don't feel connected at all.
No. So, I don't know. I worry about the future. Hopefully these 2 episodes really make me say, all right, there were some bumps on this season, but I really did enjoy the finale. It makes me excited about the future. These 2 episodes, I really hope that's what it gets me to, is excited about the future.
So let's speculate. We had Dale said, I have a question that will probably scare you all. Do we even leave this planet for the next episode? Didn't even ask about the control module chip for IG-11. He could get it here. There are a lot of Ugnaughts here. Maybe that just kind
does he
of
still
came into
need
mind.
it?
It doesn't matter.
forgot
No,
about that.
he didn't need it because the only reason he needed IG-11 was to protect Grogu when he was on Mandalore.
Yeah,
Which
Right?
wasn't even necessary
Yeah,
to
he doesn't
breathe
need it
potentially.
they
anymore.
ignored that
Yeah.
whole like plot.
He doesn't need it.
It
So,
could happen. It would be
this-
relatively fast.
Yeah.
I think if it did. I
So
think it
do
could
we-
start off on this planet, but
Yeah.
it won't be there the whole time.
Hopefully we
There's
leave
got
this
to be
planet.
there's got to be something, man. They've got to go pick up the other Mandos, go to Mandalore, and there's Imperial warships there or something.
I would say, well, so clearly we thought last week maybe Axe Woves was the one that took him off. That clearly
That
did
has
not
to be
happen.
resolved in the next 2 episodes.
That didn't happen.
Well, yeah,
we need to figure out who took him off, where he's at. Was it?
It's the rebel.
Could have.
I think it's the rebel, maybe.
I think it
right?
could have been them.
They're just
Axe
kind of
Woves.
holding him in his ship.
He might be in there.
That
No,
would be
they're-
weird.
They're for hire. They're for hire. Like
They could have just rescued him.
If
and then
someone
just
pays
left.
Oh,
them,
so you
would
think
they not-
they got
They could have been
Moff
hired.
Gideon out? Is that what
I
you're
don't
saying?
think. I don't think so. I think that could happen.
Okay.
Like if they are just mercenaries, why not?
I think Imperial's got him out for sure because that one chick seems to keep getting brought up over and
But
over.
what
and
about
over
the
again.
there was that
The Beskar
they
armor.
really emphasized the Beskar, which doesn't make sense because
Yeah.
Beskar isn't just gonna get chipped off. Like that
yeah.
just doesn't happen. So it could be planted to throw him off, but then that's also weird.
Or about that guy died. I don't know who else would be even connected to that one dude that from the beginning of Mando. That very first like guy that he kills to rescue Grogu. He tried to pay him in the Beskar.
Yeah, I don't really know what to expect totally. I really hope we leave this planet. I hope we finally get some resolution as to where Moff Gideon is. They've dropped his name way too many times.
I hope we find out the Mandalorians just killed him. I know we're not because
I would be fine with that, and we can move on to someone else.
Yes.
Some threat. There is no
like, all right, guys,
no
season
threat.
3 is over. You've not had a villain this whole time, and your season 4 villain will be Thrawn. It's just like, yay, thanks. So glad we got nothing done this season, because it's gonna be, in my opinion, with 2 episodes left, it's going to be really hard to get a lot done in these 2 episodes. Maybe there'll be 40-minute episodes, 50-minute episodes each. I feel like that's going to be necessary.
LOL.
It's going to be necessary, but it's going to be tough.
I think it's kind of clearly what's happening. This whole season is just about them getting a bunch of Mandalorians together for whatever's going to happen in season 4. I think that's going to be the end of this season, is whatever unites the Mandalorians, so that they could use the Mandalorians as a plot thing in season 4, and they just have to use a season to do that, because you can't randomly get them all together in an episode.
I do think this can be a bridge season. I hope that's the case, and we're going to find that things are a lot better seasons 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, or however far it goes.
9, 10, 11.
But yeah, I'm a little worried for sure about the direction this is all headed.
I really hope Morgan Elsbeth isn't like the big bad villain. That would be kind of weird.
Who's that?
The lady that Ahsoka fought in the
no.
Jedi.
Oh, she was so underwhelming.
Yeah, no thanks.
And even the droids that were protecting her were from Thrawn's fleet.
Dale, I could see Ahsoka perhaps coming back at the end of this episode just to lead into Ahsoka, as it is the next show to come out. Just kind of set up that and get people hyped up for it. I hope she's not too much of a impact. I don't know. I think it'd be fine for her to be an impact. I mean, Bo-Katan is legitimate friends with Ahsoka. So
they shared a moment.
They did.
Together when they first met.
Smack the buttocks. I could see her calling on her.
Kind of skinny.
Help. I could see that. So I wouldn't be opposed to that. It'd be a good way to set up.
Yes, the actress. I think, is it Donnie Yen's daughter, or is it? I think it's Donnie Yen's daughter, or is it Bruce Lee's daughter?
Yeah, Bruce Lee, or somehow related to Bruce Lee. An after credits scene would make sense too. All right, ratings on this episode, I give it a 4.
I mean, stuff looked pretty, so the visuals were good.
Visuals were fine. I felt the combat scene was okay.
5.5.
How do you give it above 5? 5 I call average. This was below average.
I call 6 average.
Interesting.
I'll give it a 3.
What'd you rank your fiance? Bruce Lee's got
5.5.
Okay. 5.5. Interesting. Yeah, I'm more with CJ. Yeah. I thought it was really bad.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but I guess...
there were some redeeming qualities, but the droid bar. I thought the droid bar was funny.
You did?
It's like, well, they have the clone bar. Why can't they have a droid bar?
Clones are sentient beings,
and they need to eat and drink.
Droids don't want to. Droids have always been expressive.
I
in Star
know.
Wars. You can't deny that.
It's true. They are like this.
But
oil
I will
bath
say,
is going to feel so good. Like
the thing is,
right.
it was always limited to R2 and C-3PO.
For
it was
the most part,
the battle droids.
And the battle droids.
And the battle droid, yes, and Millennium Falcon, and
droids definitely are not just robots. They have programmed personalities. But the idea of them going to a bar and listening to music and like drinking out oil is just a weird concept. I understand it.
I was fine with it, actually.
I wanted one of those droids to turn and say, "We don't serve your kind here."
I mean, that's what they did when they
Yeah,
they said it with their eyes.
Well, Mando said, "I imagine they don't see many of our kind."
There you go.
He did say something like that. So, all right.
Yep.
On to next week.
It's
Hopefully,
gonna
we
be
have a
great.
very
I'm
different
so
attitude.
excited.
It's you know what? It's possible. This show.
It's a new day.
Dale said he'd give it a 7 if it weren't so random. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you think it was fun and you enjoyed the funness of it, it's okay. And like I said too, Dale, if this were episode 2, I would not be so angry. I wouldn't. I would be like,
Could be episode 1.
I would-
Imagine we open the season with this.
I would be like, all right,
Okay.
kind of pointless, but whatever. It's okay. Move some things forward. They had their fun episode. But with just 2 episodes left, especially because if episodes 1
We
through
have
5,
nothing. We have no direction.
yeah, if episodes 1 through 5 gave us a good direction and then this happened, I'd be slightly annoyed. I'd be like, oh, come on, we're getting to the good stuff. But right now with 5, I was like hoping that 6 would get us into what is this season really going to be about. And maybe that we have, and all it really is about is just uniting Mandalorians. Maybe that's all this season is about.
I
But
think so.
Could be.
and that very well might be the case. Hopefully they do it in a really epic way in the last 2 episodes, if that's the case. But
It's just
it's underwhelming.
it's just weird you have a TV show and your main theme doesn't get screen time
Mm-hmm.
if there is a main theme. Of
Yeah,
the season.
I mean, we might look
This-
back on
yeah.
this differently after the end of 8 episodes. It's possible. But yeah.
So fun, real funny thing that I can bring up next week again. One of my staff people, he's never seen any Star Wars, no Star Wars whatsoever, and so me and my other coworker were like, "You need to watch this episode and have this be your introduction to Star Wars, and
This
tell
one?
us what you think." Yeah. So we're trying to convince him to watch just this episode of Star Wars and see.
Don't do that to him.
No, I would be so funny. It'd be like the perfect personnel test.
Mm.
I think it would be funny.
He's like, I don't know what's
update you
going
guys.
on.
Poor guy. He's gonna be like, what?
He wouldn't have to know because nobody does.
Yeah. that's
Exactly.
true. He'd be on
So
the same
that's
page
what
as all of us.
that would be the funny.
I don't believe so, Dale. I think we get 1 episode next week and 1 the following.
No,
I don't think they're gonna do
8.
2.
we'll see.
Can't imagine they'd let people cancel the Disney Plus subscription a week early.
That's true.
Or we
Dude,
fight.
could you imagine how many people are gonna drop?
Oh, we do have Star Wars
Well,
Celebration
shoot.
this weekend.
Yeah, if we can, we could do a Star Wars celebration stream,
Yeah.
or just tack it on to the next
well,
one.
did you know that they're not streaming any of the
I know
panels?
it's ridiculous.
I wonder why.
Really?
Because they don't want the chat to look like,
Hit-
this sucks, and all the
Yes.
comments and all
Well-
the dislikes and ratios.
They
And
can't
comments off.
they can't field any questions. Like, if you're going into this, I'm gonna be like, the fans are gonna throw stuff at us.
YouTube, my
I mean, yeah.
man.
This is just a PR thing to keep everything under control as much as possible. If you cut off 99% of your fan base,
Yeah.
because let's be honest, 5,000 people are going to go to this?
I
Let's
don't
see what the
know.
numbers were last year.
I know some of them are huge.
Yes. Visions 2 comes out on May 4th, Dale, and Ahsoka, we believe, is coming this fall.
10,000 fans. So you've got 10,000 people coming to this. You've got, 100 million fans?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure we're gonna get some trailers and stuff posted, or not trailers.
Are we, though? Are we?
We're gonna.
I don't
get
know that we are.
announcements. They're gonna make.
We're getting
announcements.
Ahsoka.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
get
I think
announcements.
We'll get an
But-
Ahsoka trailer for sure.
In the past, they've done secret trailers for people
Yeah.
who attend.
It's all very frustrating.
I don't know. I've read that we're gonna get it.
I'm sure.
It's not
well,
for sure.
Well,
but-
you think
hopefully we
it's-
get some
it's
announcements,
supposed to get
like
an-
at least
it's-
of what's, dates of things happening or what's in. Even though the announcements are pointless because half the stuff gets canceled anyways.
or
Or delayed.
pushback
Delayed.
or whatever.
What'd you say, Siege?
I said or delayed.
Yeah, or delayed. So, all right. Well, without any further ado, thank you so much for joining us this week, Dale. Good to talk to you as always. Anyone else that watches this at a later date, please leave us some comments. Let us know what you've been thinking about this whole conversation. Did you like the episode? Are you a crazy person? I'm just kidding. If you liked it, good for you.
Are we the crazy people?
I'm just kidding. I know. I hope people like things. I do. I want you to like it, even if I can't. But yeah, I'm hoping for some good stuff in the next couple weeks. We'll see what happens. Please be sure to tell your friends about us and tell us about your friends. Also, drop a like if you haven't already, and subscribe. Hit the bell, and we'll catch you guys next week. May the force be with you.
Always.
Do it, Dale. Do it.